This week, it's just a fail. Mildly concerned that I've done something wrong. Oh yeah, there's icing everywhere. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've got a bit of a change of scenery today. I thought I would switch up in my kitchen, mainly because I think the lighting here is a little bit better. Don't know, let me know what you think. But it is Bake Off box time again. This is the September box. I know that it's the beginning of October. I think I received this in the mail on the 27th of September, but there was kind of a reason for that. So this month's box was kind of held off for a little bit because it's a recipe from week 1 or episode 1 of the Bake Off this year. We are making salted caramel mini rolls. Obviously this wasn't like an exact recipe from the episode, but in the episode, spoilers, they made mini rolls and then we've been given our own recipe to make ourselves. I kind of don't understand why they didn't save that and have that as the recipe for October, but the plan is to basically have surprise boxes for October, November, December. The Christmas themed one's been released and I'm so excited for that, although it is going to be the last box because they have announced that they are not running this subscription for much longer. So December box will be the last box, but it does look the most exciting, so kind of can't complain too much. Obviously, as I said, they are ending this box in December, and in terms of like boxes that I've had, I started it in June, so I didn't get like the traditional, the chocolate cake, the banana loaves, the lemon slices, or the babka. And I believe that some of these boxes you can actually just purchase as a one-off online. So I'm debating whether to do that so that I can almost like continue this on for a couple of months after they end it. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing like more of these episodes, because I'm not sure what I'm going to turn this series into once the box stops coming. So the tool that we got this month is a little bit more exciting than previous ones in my opinion, is a silicone baking mat, which obviously can be used for anything. You can use it just on its own, or you put it on your like metal baking trays, whatever you want. But obviously for today's box, we're gonna make the cake. God, my brain's not working. We're gonna make the cake and then you have to like roll it up. And this, I believe, it better be the exact perfect size to make the cake and then roll it up. And obviously this is flexible, so hopefully that's going to help us out later on. In the box this month in terms of ingredients, we got dark chocolate, icing sugar, the tiniest, thinnest little thing of flour, cocoa powder, again, basically nothing, and caster sugar, and that was it. In terms of what we needed to buy in order to be able to make this, we needed 80 ml of double cream, which is really difficult because in the shop that I went to, you couldn't, the maximum you could buy was like 300 ml. I can't show it to you because you're balanced on the double cream right now. So I had to buy 300 ml and I only needed 80, but whatever. We need 90 grams of butter, 4 eggs and oil. So in terms of ingredients this week, not too bad. Anyway, enough waffling from me. Step 1 is to make the caramel crunch. I didn't even know this was a thing. I'm assuming it's going to get like sprinkled inside the roll when you roll up to add a crunch. I hate making caramel because it's such a pain to clean up afterwards. So this is my current situation. We're making the caramel crunch and the salted caramel at the same time because the first stage is literally just to heat up and melt some sugar. For the caramel crunch, it's literally just 60 grams of sugar, melt it till it's hard, pour it onto the baking tray and then smash it up when it's cold. For the salted caramel, we've got 80 grams of caster sugar, melting it down, except when that gets to like caramel consistency, you're gonna add the cream and then the butter to make it salted caramel, make it nice and smooth. So it's like bubbling, but like I've got lumps of like caramel in it, so I'm hoping it's just gonna like join together. We're then adding like the tiniest little bit of butter and quite a hefty amount of salt because it's salted caramel. So the next stage is actually to make the filling, but in order to make the filling you need the salted caramel that we just made to have cooled down so that you can add that into the mix basically. So I'm going to skip that step, come back to that later, and for now I'm going to make the chocolate sponge, which is like, it doesn't actually say what kind of sponge it is, but it's a scary one because it's the one where you have to add like the whipped eggs. And if you saw last week's episode, you know that beating eggs with the whisk to make them like white and fluffy, it's not my forte. So we've separated the egg yolks from the egg whites, and I did a pretty good job of that if I do say so myself. Now we're adding 40 grams of caster sugar and some vegetable oil. I only have sunflower oil, don't come for me. I wasn't going to buy a whole bottle of oil just for 2 tablespoons worth. Mix that together and then add in the flour and the cocoa powder. Now, not gonna lie, I'm kind of questioning this because it is so stiff. I had to add a little bit more oil to it just to be able to actually mix in all of the flour and stuff. So mildly concerned that I've done something wrong, but we will find out. Now we're gonna whisk the egg whites and add in the leftover caster sugar to basically make almost like a meringue, but then that gets added into the cake mixture. But you know, it wouldn't be the bake-off box if it wasn't a requirement for you to have an electric whisk in your house. We're gonna put our potentially medium stiff eggs, I don't know, I guessed it, into this very, very stiff cake batter and hope that it turns into actual cake batter. I'm continuing with the I have definitely done something wrong because I'm trying to combine the egg whites, so it's like start with a quarter and mix it in, but it just doesn't want to combine because the thing I'm trying to mix it into is like rock hard. Okay, so I got it to combine, but I basically had to beat it, which means all the air from the eggs that I just whipped is basically gone. But I'm hoping now I'll be able to mix the rest in and maybe have some air. Otherwise we're gonna have a very flat cake. I think I did it, probably over folded it, which means apparently we'll have a dense sponge rather than a light sponge. Oh well. I'm assuming that this is the silicone tray that they want us to use, but it says to put it on another baking tray. I don't have a baking tray that this fits into, so we're just gonna have to use this one and hope this little overhang doesn't ruin my cake. What's the point of having the silicone baking tray if you have to put it in another baking tray? We have our sponge on the baking sheet and it's going in the oven for 10 to 11 minutes. While the sponge is in the oven, we're going to quickly make the filling, which is basically mixing together butter and icing sugar, but then you're supposed to add 2/3 of the salted caramel that we made earlier, except I just went to check on the salted caramel I made earlier and it is literally like a rock. So did something wrong there, I'm heating it up to try and see if it will liquefy a little bit more and maybe then I'll add it, we'll see how it goes. Now, not gonna lie, I am panicking a little bit because the sponge is ready and out of the oven and it's you gotta roll it quick, otherwise it goes hard and cracks. But I have completely ruined the salted caramel icing because I've curled the butter because it was too hot. I'm really panicking. I'm gonna try and roll it up and leave it on the side and then hope that I can unroll it and ice it after that while I remake the icing. But this is a disaster, not good. I've been on such a roll, I've not done one box badly, kind of. And I don't want it to be this week. This week is such a good one. Oh, I've got icing on me. Oh yeah, there's icing everywhere. Okay, in the end, I decided against remaking it and I just added more icing sugar to thicken it up because it kind of tastes okay and it's just gonna be me eating it, so I don't really care, it'll do. Now I've got to attempt to roll this and I'm honestly terrified. It's gonna be a disaster and I'm gonna cry. Honestly, this has been the biggest disaster I've ever had ever. I can't really lift it up to show you. Here, have a little look. Cute. No. So you're supposed to roll it up from either side to make lots of little ones, but I couldn't roll it up from the other end because it just cracked because I basically waited too long. It's cracked in many, many places and I've basically ended up with a long, fat log rather than lots of little thin ones. So I'm just going to cut them smaller when I cut them, but this will have to do. Maybe I'll get the most creative bake this week from them on their Instagram. Probably not. So we're just gonna continue as if everything is fine, you know? The next thing to do is just melt down the chocolate, this whole big hefty bag of chocolate, and then once they're cool from the fridge, I'm gonna chop them up and then we're just gonna cover them in chocolate. I did taste the salted caramel and it was incredible. I put extra salt in because I really like salted caramel. Probably the reason I'll have a heart attack one day, touch wood. But yeah, it tastes good, so hopefully it's not gonna be too bad. Not too much of a fail. So here we have my log. Look how bad that is. Oh my god, I'm embarrassed. That side looks better. Still pretty embarrassed. And to add to the disaster, I think I've like partially burnt the chocolate that's supposed to be poured over the top. So it's almost not really pourable, or it's got lumps in it. But we're going with it anyway. This week, it's just a fail. You know, I'm gonna partially take it back because I actually think that is not the worst job. Okay, don't look at that side, but just that side. But that's kind of not too bad. Like, they're not the right shade that they were supposed to be. I've got a fat one, but it's all gonna taste the same. I think the biggest problem comes now because I've got to dip the end in the chocolate, and because they're so fat, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do that without making an absolute mess, but maybe I should just accept the mess. Yeah, this is not working. So, we have 8 salted caramel mini rolls. I'm embarrassed, not gonna lie. This is definitely the worst box that I've done so far. Well, no, this recipe looks like it's gonna be the best, but in terms of my execution of it, yeah, epic fail. They'll probably taste nice though. We'll give them a taste test once they're solidified. So I've got one. They're not quite set, but in all honesty, I can't be bothered to wait any longer. This is what it looks like. Bit of a mess, but we're gonna give it a taste test, even though it was a little bit of a disaster. Not gonna lie, I think this is the best recipe that we've had so far, and which is typical because I've screwed it up, but it tastes absolutely incredible. I could literally eat all 8 of these right now if I really wanted to. 10 out of 10. Would definitely recommend. If you can make them better than I can, so they look pretty too, you've really got yourself a winner here. That is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, even though it was a little bit of a fail. Anyway, we tried. They still tasted pretty good in the end, even though they didn't look like what they were supposed to. But if you make this recipe at home, or if you get the bake-off box yourself and you make them and they do look like what they're supposed to look like, please tag me like on Instagram or wherever you want, because I would love to see what they actually look like when someone makes them themselves at home. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you made it through to the end of this absolute disaster. But anyway, please give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe so you can see all the other kind of videos that I upload. Let me know if there's anything specific that you want to see in the comments. But that's it for today, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.